Hi there, this is Diwari with Uniquely Average Gamers, and we're going to continue on talking about Destiny. We already broke down the three different classes that we got access to in the alpha in our previous videos, so this video we're going to kind of change angles, and we're going to talk a little bit more about just general fundamentals of Destiny. Questing, weapon upgrades, weapon stats. We got a whole bunch coming at you in this video. Let's start talking about just general questing and exploration. This is Old Russia. It takes place on Earth, which was the only planet we got access to in the alpha. You do get to go to the moon in the alpha, but that was for PvP only. We'll talk about that in a different video. But this is Old Russia. You run around and explore it, farming experience points and currency. You do this by killing enemies that are strewn across the area, or participating in public events where multiple players come together to kill a heavy world boss or something along those lines. You can also just complete quests as well if you want to stay solo. All of this is to ultimately farm experience points and currency. You can see them in the right-hand side of the screen. That little green cross, that's experience points. I know it seems weird, you would think health, but that's experience. Beneath that, it's the three little blue dots. That's glimmer. That's your in-game currency. That's your gold. That's your money. As of the alpha, it also was shared between your different characters as well. We don't know if this is going to persist into the final game, but we're hopeful. It could just be in the alpha for accessibility reasons, admittedly, but we hope we're wrong about that. Now, there's also gathering of resources, which is going to help increase your Guardian's power as well. You'll see just different plants that you can pick up across the area, and you can turn these in the tower for tokens, and these tokens you can turn in later on after you've accumulated enough for stronger PvE and PvP gear. Which, speaking of gear, let's talk about the different weapon types. You get three different weapon types: primary, special, and heavy. You get to equip one of each. Starting with the primary weapons, there are four different types that we get to choose from. Let's start with auto rifles. These are going to be fully automatic assault rifles, very useful. They vary from quite accurate with lower clips to very, very spray and pray with larger clips. Next up we have burst rifles. These are going to be 3-shot fired, relatively accurate assault rifles, very good for getting headshots off on people. After that, you get scout rifles, which are going to be single-shot focused assault rifles. Very, very potent headshot damage, so always be aiming for the head. You do get the ability to unlock scopes, which allows you to pick off targets that are farther away. But as we mentioned before, aim for the head. Always the best course of action. And then the fourth type you get are magnums. These are going to be, in our experience, we found them to be a little bit more close quarters, or at least medium close quarters damage dealers, in the sense that we didn't get to see too many scopes that allowed us to pick off targets from far away. If you're good with aiming down the iron sights, however, you can still hit targets from afar. Next up, we have the specialty weapons. This is going to be your second armor slot that you get to equip. Starting off with shotguns, these are going to be just as they sound: fast reload times, significant close quarters damage as well. Putting a point-blank shot into a heavy enemy or another player is going to do some devastating damage to them, so use these if you're up close to somebody. The next type that we get is called the fusion rifle. Now, these were a relatively new addition. We were surprised to see them. They're very similar to the Spartan laser from traditional Halo games, in the sense that you hold down the fire button to charge up a devastating shot once the shot has been charged and it releases. This is effective at both close quarters and long range, well, medium range we should say, so we're excited to see how these are going to evolve in endgame. Now, the third and final special weapon type that you get exposure to is just a good old-fashioned sniper rifle. Kind of the signature gun of a lot of the Halo games was the sniper rifle, and its power to just absolutely destroy its targets. It's the same thing here. Essentially, a headshot with a sniper rifle is still going to be one of the most powerful single hits you can put on an enemy, so always aim for the head. Now, it does not have the hip fire reticle that allowed us to sort of shoot from the hip to get those close-range headshots that we saw in previous Halo games. Looks like the hip fire is going to be a little bit more nerfed in this, so pretty much as of the alpha, we're going to rely more on shotguns and fusion rifles for our close quarters special weapon choice. Now, after that, we get into the heavy weapons. Now, heavy weapons are your third slot. You equip them by holding, or rather you change to them by holding down the weapon swap button. It feels very deliberate, and it feels very satisfying when you bust out one of these giant guns to melt down a heavier enemy or another player. Starting with heavy machine guns, these are going to be exactly as they sound: very, very powerful machine guns that are very good at DPSing down single targets. Put a couple shots into them, it does a considerable amount of damage. Now, the other type of heavy weapon we got to play with was, of course, just the rocket launcher. Very, very powerful, explosive shot. Kind of a slower velocity to the rocket itself than your traditional bullets, so lead your targets with these. But the damage is considerable. They one-shot all players, it does a significant amount of damage to other bosses. It's very, very satisfying, but of course it doesn't give as much ammo as the heavy machine gun. Now let's talk about the weapon stats for a little bit as well, because the weapons are broken into tiers. You'll notice that different weapons follow the same attack damage styles. Like for instance, right here we got that auto rifle that's 96, pulse rifle that's 96, fusion rifle that's 96. Essentially, all the weapons follow the same damage tiers. All weapons on the same tier will be at 96, all weapons on the same tier will be at 75 if they're lower, and they can all be upgraded as you use them more often. Now these upgrades can of course help you add a scope to the weapon so you can get larger distance, and of course they also increase the overall damage that you can put out with the weapons as well. So the damage can increase as you use it more often, so use these guns liberally if you want to use them. After that we get into armor and gear. Now it's split up into 4 different positions and a 5th position which is unique to your class. You got your head slot, your arm slot, your chest slot, and your boots. Now each different class has that unique sort of signature item slot which is cosmetic in nature. For the Titans you get a sash, for the Hunters you get a cloak, and for the Warlocks you get an armband. These are cosmetic in nature, so you do get to equip them to kind of show them off as a trophy. They don't change much of your abilities, but the gear themselves, the actual armor, can be upgraded as you use them more often. These upgrades can be, as we saw in the alpha, they're along the lines of increasing ammo capacity with certain weapon types if you happen to favor those weapon types. We didn't see anything that increases the damage of weapon types. We can't rule that out until we see what the endgame gear is going to look like, but it looked like the upgrades, while useful, are going to be more weapon specific. We hope to see that change, but who knows, it's still pretty early. Now, like many RPGs out there, you do get a mount in Destiny. Your mount allows you to get to farther distances more quickly, so it's very useful while questing. You can also use it in PvP as well as in dungeons. If you decide to go in there and bust out a mount, free range to do so. You can jump off of it and attack very quickly. You cannot attack while on your mount. You can take damage on your mount, and your mount can be destroyed. So pay attention to your health as well as the damage taken by your mount. It'll catch on fire if it's low on health. You can boost in your mount as well. That's indicated by the little boost meter on the bottom left corner of your screen, those 2 little chevrons down there. And as you upgrade your mount, not only does it change cosmetically, but you can also take corners harder, or more sharply we should say, and you also get the ability to strafe left and right for just a little quick dash if you need to dash out of the way of a rocket or a sniper rifle. You do get that via the PvP mounts that we found. We don't know if PvE mounts are going to have that same feature allowing you to strafe left and right very quickly. If you find yourself getting bored as well with questing, luckily Bungie has added public events to Destiny. Now public events are indicated when the sky is going to flash, and then you're going to see one of these giant dropships pop over. Very pretty. Now public events are essentially cooperative events that you and other players in your area can cooperate on to down a world boss or kill large waves of enemies. There's a number of different public events that Bungie can work with, truly. We did find that the rewards were worth it. You did get a considerable amount of experience and glimmer for destroying these world bosses, so if you find yourself in a public event, break up the monotony. Get out there and lay into the boss, join other players. It can be very, very fun and spontaneous. Now this is Ghost. We're going to talk about Ghost for a little bit. Ghost is your little companion in Destiny. He's voiced by Peter Dinklage. In the alpha, his performance is a little bit lackluster, admittedly, but Bungie has made statements stating that it's not the final version of the game regarding his performance, and we're going to be getting new lines down the road. We're excited to see that. Peter Dinklage is awesome. Who's on the other side of that? And now Ghost is going to have a practical purpose as well. He's going to, of course, explain lore around you, give you background on enemies you're fighting. He's also going to unlock doors in the game for you as well. So if you find that Ghost can hack a terminal to open up a garage door, you just bust him out and have him hack. Another incredibly useful thing that Ghost will do is mark your current objective as well as nearby quest givers if you're not on a mission. So if you want to know where to go quickly, bust him out. It'll show up on your heads-up display. You can get there quickly. Helps optimize how fast you level. Now let's talk a little bit about the different enemy types in Destiny, or at least what we got exposure to in the alpha. Okay, we'll start by talking about the Fallen. The Fallen are an alien race of scavengers that scour old Russia. They're kind of like opportunistic nomads. They do feel very similar to the Covenant from the Halo games. I know, shocker, right? But they do have different attacks and technology that still make them feel pretty fresh and pretty fun as well. They do have a few different types of the Fallen. There's the Fallen Dreg, which is a pretty weak infantry unit. You can clear them off the field pretty quickly. They can swarm you, so keep their numbers in check. Next you have the Fallen Vandals, which will be stronger. They are susceptible to headshots, And they are capable of sniping and cloaking. You are going to encounter cloaked Fallen throughout the game, so watch out for them. Think of the Vandals as kind of like jackals from Halo, except they don't have the shield. Then there's also these little robots that are going to pop up every so often. They're little kind of red floaty robots. They're always going to float at you in mass. They all will attack you in mass as well. It can do some damage if it compounds, but you can kill these guys really quickly. In fact, when we were low on ammo, we looked forward to these guys spawning because we started to just, kind of consider them ammo balloons eventually. Now, the strongest Fallen unit we encountered were the captains. They were kind of the heavy hitters, and they have this rechargeable shield as well. So once their shield is down, just melt away that health, or they're going to get it right back up. You have to start, getting that out of the way. They do not recharge health, which is useful. But that shield can be kind of a nuisance if you think you have them and they get around that corner at the last little minute. They're pretty fierce at melee as well, and they can sport an explosive shotgun, so watch out for that. You don't just automatically want to assume that you can run up in these things' face. You might be able to at endgame, but in the alpha when you're only level 8, we didn't have a lot of luck with that. We tend to attack them as a group to focus them down pretty quickly. They still were pretty fun. On Legendary mode, they do get a significant health buff as well, so attack them in mass. It's pretty fun. They do have different weapon types as well, from kind of your typical single-shot pistol and rifles. They can also use sniper rifles, explosive shotguns, even this little gun that shoots little blue homing beams at you. Now the Dreg, the Vandals, and the Captains all can use various different weapon types, so it doesn't seem as though any of the types are prohibited from using any others. They also throw grenades at you, although the grenades don't really do too much damage. They can also drop in from drop ships. So if you're out in the field and you see a drop ship coming in, remember they have a big cannon on them, and they can drop a whole bombardment of grenades. So it's probably not in your best interest to stand directly beneath a drop ship, but hey, be brave, right? Now, don't get me wrong when I say this, but they didn't seem to be as smart as the Covenant. They didn't duck behind corners as quickly, they didn't pursue you as you ran around a corner if you were low on health. They just didn't seem to have that extra little bit of aggression. Nonetheless, the Fallen are very fun and quite challenging on Legendary mode, so we did enjoy playing them on the whole. Now let's talk about the Hive for a minute.
Lots of motion ahead. I've got a bad feeling about this. It can't be. It's the Hive.
Now the Hive are pretty much space zombies from the moon, which is an awesome premise any way you look at it, and they're also the only other race that we got to fight in the alpha. They're going to swarm you. That's going to be a large part of their strategy, is just to overwhelm you with numbers. They are all very prone to headshots, so just keep their numbers thin by piling on the headshots. Starting with the Thralls, these are going to be your zombie-style enemies. They run at you quickly, they can leap at you, they're pretty much melee dependent, they don't have a projectile. They're pretty easy to kill. Keep their numbers thin. After that, you get the Acolytes. Acolytes are going to be kind of more your standard infantry-style units. They can shoot you from afar. They're not too strong, but just keep those headshots piled on. After that, we get to the Knights. Now, Knights are a lot like Paladins from other games, in the sense that they're going to shield if they're low on health, and then they're going to self-heal. You can tell they're self-healing because they're going to glow red. Now, we didn't ever see it do that much as far as the self-heal is concerned. Like 40% at most. So we just kept the pressure on them by changing our angle if we're using a sniper rifle, or just running in there around their shield with a shotgun. Both strategies worked well for us. Now, the other type that we got to fight was the Wizard. The Wizard essentially flies around and shoots you with this little projectile. And it also has the ability to hit you with this AoE cloud. Now, this AoE cloud is going to cause damage over time. It's going to significantly slow you, so stay out of it. And then it's also going to blind you by fogging up your screen. It's not as wide as you would think, so you can run out of it. If it's around you, run out of it as quickly as possible. It really hinders your movement. Wizards can also summon Thralls in mass. They can also summon Thralls that glow blue. These are explosive. Put your distance between you and them and shoot them from afar, and they're going to blow up, damaging enemies around them. Again, if they're glowing blue, they're explosive. And now the Fallen and the Hive, they are not the best of friends. So if they ever encounter each other in a room, they're going to fight each other. You can use that to take a breather if your health is low, or you just kind of want to see how things are going to play out. We never really did that. We never really saw who the victor was after a while. We just kind of always intervened because we found it more fun to just kind of kill them all, right? So we're going to just kind of end it right there. This was kind of a foundational video. I do certainly hope that it was helpful. If it was, give it a like, a comment, subscribe. We've got more videos coming up, and they're going to cover things like PvP, the Tower, which is your town, and then they're also going to cover the Devil's Lair, which is the only dungeon that we got access to. So we're going to talk about dungeons in another video we have. This has been Diwari with Uniquely Average Gamers. Again, thank you for watching. We got more coming up, so take it easy.